Hey guys, it is Gordon here with Maniac Reviews, and today we are talking about the top 5 worst movies of 2017. Now, I understand there is still some time left in 2017. Some steaming piles could still be released, but I want to talk about the 5 movies that I have seen so far this year that made me no longer want to do this. That made me no longer want to be an unfamous, underrated critic on YouTube. So, let's get right into this giant, big pile of poo that these movies are. And we're going to kick it off in our number 5 position with the Michael Bay, King Arthur-esque Transformer movie, The Last Knight. Holy hell, was this thing a pile of poo. It was like 3 hours long. It was a complete mess. I mean, they made jokes about much better movies. Watching this movie, I would have rather have been doing anything else. Literally anything. I would have rather have been in prison. Putting it out there. The Transformers series, the first one was interesting. It wasn't a good movie, it wasn't a bad movie, but it was an enjoyable Michael Bay explosive okay movie. Transformers The Last Knight is, for lack of a better word, big steaming pile of poo. It is just an incomprehensible storyline. It is apparently Earth is Unicron. Oh my god. What? It had Optimus as the enemy. It had apparently Bumblebee's been on Earth since World War II, yet we saw him crash in the first movie. And then, I mean, the acting within it, I mean, at least Megan Fox wasn't in it. That's the best that I can say. Mark Wahlberg did an okay job in his position, but this movie is just garbage. Which brings us to our number 4 movie. I had forgotten that this movie even existed. I had completely wiped it from my brain until I started to think of the worst movies that I've seen this year. And this one crept back up into my mind, and I remembered, as much as I hated it, the bright colors within it were much nicer than what we got in Transformers, but it was still a horrible storyline with bad acting and major plot holes. And we are talking about Matt Damon's The Great Wall. Now, with The Great Wall in our number 4 position, it had the story that the Great Wall of China was built to keep out aliens that kept attacking from a single crash site and trying to take over China, but you could completely stop the aliens with magnets. And it had Matt Damon playing as a Welsh character in Scottish armor, speaking like a First Nations from Americas. I no longer wanted to do this job after seeing that movie. It took everything from me to watch it. I was hating myself when I left the theater. I don't know if any of you guys saw that movie. I pray that you didn't, but It was released, and it shouldn't have been. The next one is The Fate of the Furious. Holy crap, was this thing bad. Now, I'm going to mention right now that I understand that Vin Diesel's car would have had to have been traveling 900 miles per hour to outrun the cruise missile fired at it while still maintaining complete control over the ice. This movie is just a mess. And I mean, there's the fact that within it, they remote control all of the vehicles within New York City to go after one single limousine, which isn't how that technology works. These movies have degraded worse than the Transformer movies have. The acting within it is terrible. I mean, this is just a paycheck for Vin Diesel and the Fast and the Furious crew. The fact that they roped The Rock and Jason Statham into these movies floors me. And it's another one of these series that just needs to go away. Now, I will admit I enjoyed Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift because that was its own little movie that was off and didn't have any of the original cast within it and had its own, I mean, not good storyline, but had its own little thing and had its own good parts and bad parts, and I was able to see past it and I was able to enjoy it. So, that being said, Fate of the Furious, this movie franchise needs to die. Our next movie is a horror movie that was released in 2017. Well, it was billed as a horror movie. And it had Rosario Dawson in it, and it had Katherine Heigl. I can't remember what the name of the movie was. I know that there's a song that matches up with the title for it, but this thing was a mess. The acting was subpar. Katherine Heigl just walked around in bitch face throughout the entire movie. She was completely emotionless. I'm not even certain she was acting in the movie from what you hear about the reports of Hollywood, that maybe she was just on set and they didn't give her a script and just asked her to walk around and talk the way that she normally would. But the funny thing is that after this, I can't remember the name of it, she ended up doing the Nut Job too, so I'm starting to think that they're not going to allow her to act as a real person anymore and that she has to work up from being an animated squirrel. Watching this movie, I would have much rather Katherine Heigl at the beginning of the movie just come through the screen, stab me a few times, and go away. Because after I watched this movie, I wanted to cut myself. Which brings us to our number one, the worst of the worst. And I don't know how they got the cast that they got within this movie. This movie should never have left the film festivals. It should have never left that circuit. It should have never been released as the blockbuster that it was. It shouldn't have been sold to us as a horror movie. But it was. And then they had the fact that Jennifer Lawrence was the main actress. She was the name grab for this movie. And the movie that, by now, what you guys know that I'm talking about is Mother. This hit my number one just due to the fact that we were lied about what it was. The storyline, I understand. Most people are like, oh, Gordon, you just don't get what it was talking about. I understand that it was the retelling of the Bible. That Jennifer is supposed to be Gaia. And then she turns into the Virgin Mary. And that the first person to show up at the house was Adam, and then they took Adam's rib and made Eve, and then the two boys were the story of Cain and Abel, and that this is all going over and over again, and it's an allegory of how religion destroys everything, and it was just bad. I mean, it is a bad movie. It is a bad story. It was sold to us as a horror movie, and it's not even a horror movie. It was sold to us that we were going to go out and have a good time watching someone try and kill Jennifer Lawrence, and we were just walking around for the first half of the movie with Jennifer Lawrence not knowing what the hell was going on, and in the second half of the movie screaming like a goddamn billy goat. These movies are my worst picks because after watching every single one of them, I no longer wanted to watch movies. Mother made me give up watching movies for 3 weeks. It was horrible. But alrighty, guys, that's it for me. I am going to be back next with my top 5 middle of the road, just kind of meh movies. And after that, probably sometime in January, we're going to get our top 5 best. But don't forget that we do have Star Wars The Last Jedi coming soon. So I'm going to try and get over and see that. And, well, I'm not going to try. I'm definitely going to get over and see that. And I am going to let you guys know how it is. Alrighty, guys. So if you are liking my videos, please go ahead and hit that like button. If you have any thoughts on these 5 movies that differ from my own, let me know down in the comments. And if you guys are new around here, go on ahead and click that subscribe button. We're up to 16 of you guys now, so hopefully more people start coming around. We can keep having these great conversations. I love hearing from all of you guys, even the ones that differ from my own opinions. I actually enjoy talking to you guys the most because then I learn new things and I look at things from a new perspective. Alrighty, guys, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cue that music.